Hi, it's me, Ami. I've made a couple of videos and it's really hard to talk about Michelle in a business-like way without being emotional, without sort of shutting off what it really feels like to miss her. I've been watching my videos and there's a lot of facial expressions, like I'm really trying hard to hold in the emotions, and when I talk about my daughter dying, it's sort of like I have to separate what the words mean from the feelings that it feels when I say them in order to say it without crying and being really sad. And that's really what the movie is about. The film Grieving Well is about really letting ourselves grieve. So I want to just be real today and talk about that. I think the hardest part of grief, and this is something that we'll talk about more in the film, is guilt. So let me explain kind of what I mean by that, in my case at least. After Michelle died, I was very interested in addiction. People would ask, how could she have done that? How could she have used heroin knowing that she had a 2-year-old, and like she was making a choice between using a drug and dying and being responsible for her 2-year-old? How could she have made that choice? Because she was very responsible. She loved him so much, and she was like a unbelievably gentle Ben kind of mom. And I had to figure out the answer to that, so I started studying addiction, and for 4 years I studied about addiction. And I came to understand a little better how it wasn't necessarily a choice that she was making, or she didn't necessarily see it that way. But one of the things that I did during that time period was to go around and talk with high school kids and with parents. And the message that I was trying to get across, and that I'd like to continue to get across in the film, from my perspective, raising a child is hard work, and raising a child like Michelle, who she was not an easy person for me to be a parent of, and maybe it was just the combination between she and I, but it was hard being her mom. It was hard. It was very frustrating, and I was very worried about her, and I would get angry with her, and I would hover over her, and I would try to protect her. And after she died, what I really feel most horrible about is every time that I did that, it's like I would want her back right now, and I would take away any negative kind of feelings that I dished out to her, any kind of, you're not an easy child kind of things, ways of talking to her. I don't know if I ever said that straight out like that, but I certainly thought it and felt it. But I feel guilty about that now. And that's the hardest part, I think, of grief. Besides missing her, I do just straight out miss her. Her cheeks that were very kissable, and her words that were wise, and just being together and having that really nice friendship that we had when she got to be an adult, more of an adult. So one thing that happened that I'm really grateful for is that after Michelle stopped using, for 3 years she was straight, and let me backtrack. So when Michelle was 20 and she started using heroin for about 5 to 7 months, she overdosed twice and was revived. And then she disappeared out of my life for about 5 months. And during that time, I was so afraid. I just thought that every time I thought of her dead. And when she called me and said, I'm not using anymore, and then 2 weeks later she called and said, I'm pregnant, and then we started talking every day on the phone, and I started seeing her, and I was so happy to see her. Every time I saw her, I would just kiss her face and cry and tell her, I love you so much, I'm so glad you're still here. And I'm really glad that I got to appreciate her so much, and that she got to see me appreciate her so much. And for 3 years, she got to know how much I really loved her. And she said that she always knew that I loved her, but you know, there was that mother-daughter before that wasn't there anymore for 3 years. And that was like a gift, because if she were to leave before that, if we hadn't have done that, if I hadn't have appreciated her so much, if I hadn't known that she knew how much I loved her, I think it would be a lot harder right now. I think I would feel a lot guiltier, and I think that would be harder. So I think guilt is a main component of grief that makes it very, very difficult. And so my message to kids and to parents, from my perspective, what I've learned, for the kids, what I would say to the kids, and I would still say to the kids, and I'm telling you right now, if you're listening, is when your parents are angry with you, what they're really saying is, I'm scared shitless that something is going to happen to you, and I love you too much. I don't want to miss you. I don't want anything to take away all the brightness in your life that you could possibly have now and in your future. And even if you don't feel it now, I think you're going to feel it at some point. And it may not be completely all the time. It may be intermittent. But I want you to know that you're going to feel it. And I don't want you to take any chances of not getting to that point. So forgive your parents for being jerks when they are, and know that underlying their anxiety is they're scared of losing you. And then my message to the parents is, take a breath. Oh crap. Oops, my computer. Take a breath when you're feeling upset, and try and take a moment to go inside and ask, what am I really feeling right now? Am I really afraid? Am I afraid of this child making a bad choice? Am I afraid of them dying or being hurt or changing the path of their life so that they can't get back on to a path that they really want to be on? You know, what is it that's going on for me right now? And then speak your truth to your child. Just say, look, I love you. I'm afraid right now that you might be making a bad choice, an irreparable choice. And whatever your choice is, I just want you to know how much I love you, and I want you to make a good choice because I love you. Period. You can't have any regrets when you give the true message. So that's part of what the film is about. This is what grief looks like. Everybody's going to go through it at some point, and it's okay. Let yourself grieve. And these are the lessons that we learn. And it's, in my view, it's good advice. So I'm going to share it, and hopefully it's going to be helpful. So that's it for today. I'll come back and do another video about another part of the movie that we're going to be talking about. Today was guilt. Okay, bye for now.